has now carried out preemptive strikes against Iran, targeting its nuclear plant and military sites. Explosions that were heard in the Iranian capital of Tehran and other cities as well, where Israel has now declared a state of emergency, with their defense minister saying that retaliatory action from Tehran was possible following the operation. However, what is being said that when it comes to... All right, Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar is connected with us right now. Mr. Sajjanhar, what do you make of these preemptive strikes that Israel has launched against Iran? This was something that was being predicted even when it comes to the troop movement of the United States that was seen recently, but Israel has now done what it said.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very worrying, very disturbing what has happened, because slowly and gradually but surely there is an escalation. And I think it is evident not only in what Israel has done, but also what the United States has said and it is doing. It is asking its citizens to move out of the region, to move out of that area. So obviously it anticipates and it fears that there could be a wider conflagration. This reminds me of something what happened in 22, just before the Russian invasion of Ukraine, when all its people were asked to move. Its embassy in Kiev was closed and moved to the western side of the country. So here also the first shot has been fired, and it appears extremely worrying and dangerous.
All right, the situation is quickly evolving as we speak when it comes to in Middle East. Thank you very much, Mr. Sajjanhar, for your point of view. We have Rishabh also connected with us. Rishabh, pictures that are now coming in of loud explosions, what is being said, were also being heard by people, not just in the capital, but other cities as well in Iran.
Well, Amita, definitely. Israel has now declared that it has done preemptive strikes on Iran, especially in Tehran. What we're given to understand that the elite forces IRGC, their headquarters were also attacked, and a big, damage has been, a large damage has been inflicted on IRGC headquarters as well. State media, Tasneem News in Tehran is now declaring that Hossein Salami, the commander of IRGC, has been killed in these strikes. What Israel say that it was a preemptive strike, and they say that Iran is very close to create nuclear weapon, and that's the reason that these attacks have happened. United States have very categorically said that they have nothing to do with these attacks, these strikes from Israel, and US is not involved. But the sources suggest that the Trump administration was in know-how of these strikes. Having said that, remember, just yesterday the news came in that Donald Trump is pulling out American troops from Middle East, and there is a talk between US and Iran on Sunday as well. Ahead of that, these strikes in Tehran, killing senior officials of Iranian military, elite forces of Iranian military, is something that might derail that as well. Having said that, Israel has very categorically said that this is not the end. This is not a one-day strike, and as per quoting the Prime Minister of Israel,
possible retaliation on part of Iran as well. But we'll get you exactly what has been happening with multiple videos that are now coming across, where loud explosions in multiple cities could be seen and heard, as Israel has now launched preemptive strikes, as what it has been calling, against Iran. Reports, however, have been saying that Iran's Chief of Armed Forces, Major General Mohammad Bagheri, has been killed in these attacks. But the Iranian media seems to be denying those reports. Now, this is coming across as a huge development as far as when it comes to these preemptive strikes that have now been carried out. Exactly on what locations that Israel has carried out these strikes, but there are reports that are now coming in of top generals, including that of the Chief of Armed Forces, Major General Mohammad Bagheri, who has now been killed in these attacks. Well, Mr. Rabindra Sachdeva is connected with us right now. Sir, across the world, we have seen such kind of tensions that have been prevailing, but this time it is between Israel and Iran. Israel has now launched preemptive strikes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Israel has launched these attacks, and by all indications, it seems that these will be major attacks. It won't be just, a few strikes and then Israel will pull back. because most probably what Israel is looking at is now this time is looking to go to the full extent, right? Remember the first time, whenever that was a few months ago or something, it was some waves of attacks, and then Israel had paused, and then Iran had hit back. But this time, I think the way things are shaping up, the way things have been, kind of boiling and shaping up, this time I think it's going to be a bigger, longer attack or war if Iran can hit back. It depends how much Iran can hit back.
Well, there is a possibility there because warnings and advisories that have also been issued to the people there in Israel to move to safer locations, as it is now being feared that Iran will also launch retaliatory strikes. Thank you very much, Mr. Sajdev, for your point of view. What is now being learned that as far as when it comes to these preemptive strikes that have been launched by Israel against Iran, reports, however, have been suggesting that Iran's Chief of Armed Forces, Major General Mohammad Bagheri, that is Rishabh, what we are getting to know, that who has also been killed, but Iranian media so far have been denying the reports. Now, there are pictures that have been coming in of these explosions that could be heard and seen not just in the capital Tehran, but in other locations and other cities as well. As far as Israel has been saying that their main aim was to also target when it comes to Iran nuclear facilities, as well as they did not want the country to come up with their own nuclear program, something that the United States has also been vehemently opposing. Now, Israel's preemptive strikes that has now been carried out. The Indian embassy, meanwhile, has issued an advisory for the nationals asking to stay vigilant and to avoid unnecessary travel, as guidelines that have now been issued for the people there, for the Indian nationals to stay close to safety shelters as well. So this is the Indian embassy there that has now issued an advisory for the nationals to stay alert and to be vigilant. Well, Rishabh, this is something that is a norm that is followed. Of course, be it Indian nationals who would be in Israel and Indian nationals who would be also in Iran, they have now been asked to stay cautious and to remain on high alert.
Well, definitely. Indian embassy in both Tel Aviv as well as Tehran have issued their respective advisories, and both the embassies have very categorically asked the Indian nationals to be very vigilant and to ensure that in case of shelling, in case of a cell attack, how to safeguard themselves. Remember, in last 2 years, and especially since October 7th attack on Israel from Hamas, it has been made very clear that any Indian national who is entering Israel or is exiting Israel need to be registered with the Indian embassy in Tel Aviv. A list which is refreshed every week is created in Tel Aviv, and Indian embassy is in touch, and Indian embassy officials and senior officials of Indian embassy are in touch with every Indian national who are in Israel. Similarly, in Tehran as well, the Indian embassy in Tehran is in touch with Indians, and every Indian who is entering Iran or exiting Tehran need to communicate this to embassy as well for the database to ensure that in case of crisis, help could reach them in time. And here the advisory has now come in that they have to be vigilant, and that is something that that is a routine that Indian embassy has issued an advisory. But given the the reports that are coming in with be it General Mohammad Bagheri or be it General Salami of IRGC, these senior officials being killed, Iran is going to hit back, and Iran is going to hit back really, really hard. We have seen that last year.
Advisories that have now been issued in view of current situation in Iran, all Indian nationals and persons of Indian origin who in Iran who are requested to remain vigilant to avoid unnecessary movement and follow the embassy's social media accounts and observe safety protocols as advised by the local authorities. A similar advisory that have also been issued by India in Tel Aviv. For the moment, thank you very much, Risha, for joining in. We'll be closely following up on the details that are now coming on this big story. Back after a short break, the morning news are coming up next.